Okay, my dear students, today is our subject about the different problems which we encounter in the classrooms. Our subject, you know, that English, methods of English language teaching. And today's our topic is about the what if. What if? Let's look through which problem we will look today. For example, our first problem is what if students are all at different levels? What if the class is very big? What if students keep using their own language? Our fourth problem, what if students don't do homework? Our fifth problem, what if students are uncooperative? Sixth one, what if students don't want to talk? And seventh one, what if students don't understand the audio track? And the last one, what if some students finish before anybody else? Let's begin. What if students are all at different levels? One of the biggest problems teachers face in classes where the students are all at different levels. You know that some students are very competent in English. Some of them is not good at English. And some of them is just getting started. Even if things are not so quite extreme, the teachers, along with the teachers of different of other curriculum subjects, encounter this problem, and they every day faced with mixed ability classes where different individuals are at different levels. And what should we do? What then are the possible ways of dealing with such a kind of problem? Here we can see that, for example, we can use different materials and different technology. When teachers know who are the good and who are the less good in their classroom, they may form groups, and then, for example, they ask one group to work on a piece of a language, for example, the past continuous tense, and the other group works on do internet-based research. While better group are discussing some kind of topic, the other group is listening to a CD. And such we have differentiation in the classroom. It may, in other words, treating some different students differently from others. In schools where the self-study facilities, we may create different groups and send the better students to these rooms and give them study task which is purposeful. And if the self-study area is big enough, we may doing something like that. For example, 2 students in the corner are working on encyclopedia, 2 working on the grammar, and so we can cope. Then the next one, do different tasks with the same material technology. When the teacher uses the same material for the whole group, we may divide the one task into 3 different levels. The first and the second task are very easier, but the third task is very hard. And the better students will do the first and second, and will definitely work on the third hard task, and it will take a lot of time of them. But for the weaker ones, it will be enough to work on only the first task. Then, what is the other solution? We may ignore the problem. It is perfectly feasible to hold beliefs that in heterogeneous group, the students will find their own level. The better students will be capable with listening, with speaking. They will do their task perfectly with writing and reading. And what about the weaker students? And they will find their level anyway. But there is such a danger that it may be quite boring for better students and very intimidating for weaker students to keep up with the stronger one. It was our third solution to the problem. Our first solution uses students. Some teachers use the students, better students. They help the weaker ones, and they may explain. They may give some explanation of different rules to their peers. And our next problem is our what if class is very big? In big classes, it is very difficult for teacher to make the contact with the students which are at the back. And it's problematic for the students to get individual attention for each of them. And it means that it is not easy to walk around, to make pairs or something like that. Then we also have solution for this problem. The first one, we can use worksheets. One solution is to use worksheets as many as we have, for example, as we have in smaller classes. Our second solution is use pair work and group work. It means that even we can create pair work and we can do pair work and group work, but even the classes don't allow us to do such things. We may there are ways of doing something like this, that for example, the first row turn faces to the second row, the third row turn faces to the fourth rows, etc. Then we may use the chorus reaction. What is the chorus reaction? When its individual reaction is inappropriate for the big classes, we may use chorus reaction, and we may divide the classes. For example, the first 5 rows, the back 5 rows, and we may divide the classes into 2 halves, the left side and the right side, and the left side will repeat the sentence, say words, say turn by turn, say dialects, and etc. It's very useful and successful at the lower levels. Then we can use group leaders. Teachers always use group leaders. They help teachers for distributing worksheets, for checking if their group understands the information, for collecting work and giving feedback. Also, teacher in big classes should think about vision and acoustics. Big classes are often, but not always, are in big rooms, and teachers should making sure that everything that's right or everything that is sure is visible, is audible at all rows. Then the last one, we can use the size of the group to your advantage. You know that big groups have disadvantage. They are big, but also they have one advantage. One advantage is that the humor is more funnier in big groups. The drama is more dramatic in these groups, and it's a good warm environment in big classes. So experienced teachers use the big classes, and they turn the challenges of these classes into success. No one chooses to have a large group, because you know that it's very challenging for the teachers. It's very challenging that it already is. So we should make a lemon a lemonade, and we'll may turn this into potential success. Our next problem, what if students keep using their own languages? What can we do? When teachers use the classrooms, when teacher enters the classroom and use and there is a lot of usage of language one, it's very problematic, because if we want students to activate their English, they won't be helped if they speak different language. We mean the native language, language number 1 in their instead of this language. What can we do? The first one, we can talk to them about the issues. Teachers should try to get students to speak less in their native language, because they will have less chance to speak English. Our second solution, we can encourage them to use English appropriately. Teachers should make it clear that there is not a total ban on the students' native language. For example, if there is a reading text, they may use, while translating, they may use the native language. But if it's speaking exercise, it will lose its purpose if not done in English. Our third solution, only respond to English use. We teachers can make it clear by their behavior that they want to hear in English. We may ignore the students who speak in their native language. Then we create an English environment. Teachers themselves should speak in English constantly, so as such we create an English environment for the students, and along with the listening material and video, students constantly exposed to English sounds, and even some teachers anglicize their students' names. Then we may keep reminding them. Teachers should be prepared to run the class, cajoling and even pleading with the students, even reminding them to speak in English. Speak in English, yes, we may say that. This technique, often repeated, will be beneficial, will be successful. It will change most students' behavior to speak in English. Okay, our next problem. What if students don't do their homework? We know that homework is good for students. After all, more time they spend working on English, the better they get at it. In some schools, there is such a system for developing homework. All the students have their diaries. And if they have done their homework or not, they write the task of their homework into diary. And at the end of the week, their parents will sign off their homework, and there is a hope that their son or daughters do the required task. But it's problematic, it's more difficult when students are older. And here we cannot get the parents' help. And what can we do? The first one, we may ask the students. What are their interests, what kind of homework they want to do at home. And the second one, we make it fun. Yes, we may send the homeworks with email, with letters, and so get the answers in the same way. Then the third one, we should respect homework. What does this mean? It means that if the teacher give their homework on time, it is appropriate for the teacher not to mark it. A teacher forget to mark it and give it back. It's very problematic because students need to know that the effort they make in doing tasks will be appreciated by the teacher. And we should make the first one, make the post-homework productive. In any case, we should give the feedback. It's very useful for students because they should be encouraged when we turn it down. They should see that we correct their mistakes, we explain their mistakes, and something like this. It is also a good idea that the students correct each other mistakes, not humiliating, only correcting and explaining. Okay, our next problem is, what if students are uncooperative? Yes, as we saw, all teachers are nervous about the possibility that their students will behave badly. We need to have some idea what do when this happens. What kind of bad behavior we imply? Problem behavior can take many forms. The first one, constant chattering in class, not listening to the teacher, disengagement from what is going on, from blind refusal, a kind of passive resistance, blind refusal to do certain activities, constant lateness, and even rudeness. What should we do? There are a number of ways the teacher can react to problem behavior. Let's look. The first, remember that it is just a job. Teachers, remember, when students behave badly, especially when this involves rudeness or obstinacy, we often make sure that it's a personal attack. But it's not personal attack. Teaching is a job, it's not our lifestyle. In order to act professionally, we need to able to stand back from what's happening so that we can react dispassionately rather than taking instant decisions in the heat of the moment. In other words, we should keep calm and respond as objectively as we can. Then what can we do? We can deal with the behavior, not the student. It's our problem that it is also we should keep in mind that we should remember that we should deal with the problem behavior, not the student. It is not the problem with the student. We shouldn't humiliating them. We shouldn't make any sarcasm and something like this. It's also helpful to find out what is the problem, what is the why is the reason, what is the reason of the problematic behavior of the students. It may be to impose some such a kind of sanction for the maybe latecomers. If they are late for 10 minutes, we may ban and we may forbid to participate in the activities during the lesson time or in tests. And however, our objectives should be always identify the problem and solve the problem. And what can we do also? We may be even-handed, because it is the problem behavior, the way we deal with the problem behavior has an effect not only just the student who is with problematic behavior, but also on the whole class. All the students watch how we react to the uncooperative students and come to their own conclusion how professional we are. If they see that one student is getting away with the behavior which others are punished for, they will resent such favoritism. Then we should go forward. The best way is dealing with the problem behavior to work out what will happen next. Then we can use any means of communication with students. We can talk to students individually. We can send them email, we can send them letter explaining the problem and to the class and asking them to reply us. Then we can enlist help. What should we do? Teachers shouldn't suffer from the bad behavior on their own. They may ask their colleagues, and if possible, get a friend, ask them, please come to my lesson and observe what is the problem. I'm not aware of this problem. Finally, of course, they may rely on higher authority and the school or institute's behavior policy. Then, prevention or cure. It is always better to preempt the problem behavior so that never take place than to have the problem itself. Okay, our next problem, if the students don't want to talk during the the class period, they don't want to talk. Many teachers have come across the students who don't seem to walk in the classroom. Some students don't talk because it's their own character. Some students, sometimes it's because the students simply not used to take freely in the classroom. Maybe they are dominant students and it's very intimidating for the students to speak because they are afraid of that they may lose their face in front of their colleagues and so in front of their teacher. And there are much better things to try. For example, the first one, we can use pair work. How can I use pair work and group work? Will provoke quiet students to talk. The second way, allow them to speak in a controlled way at first. We teachers may help to students to speak. For example, we may give the sentence, beginning of the sentence, one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen, and 3 dots. And the students then explain, one of the most favorite things I have seen is the Mount Fuji at sunset, and etc. And then this next one is using acting out and reading aloud. Getting students to act out dialogues in one way is encouraging for students, and we may also use role play, because for some students it's better, it's easier to speak, to play somebody's role, to speak in a role play when they are not themselves. Then, if the teacher have time, we may use recording. If the teacher have a time, they may ask students to record their voices, and then after checking, they may find out the mistakes while speaking and correct these mistakes. Okay, our next problem. What if students don't understand the audio track? Yes, we speak about the listening, about our next academic skills, about the listening, what they don't understand the audio track. Sometimes, despite the best judgment of the design material, listening material seems to be too difficult for students to understand. However, many times the teacher plays the track, it just doesn't work. Then the teacher abandons the activity and everybody loses faith. There are a number of alternatives to this scenario which can help. Here from the picture you also see my students just don't understand the audio. And solutions. We may preview interview questions. Students can be given the questions of an interview and encouraged through the role play, which might be said before the listening. This will have great predictive power. We may use jigsaw listening. We have different groups, and for the different groups we give different audio excerpts. It may be CD, or for some of them audio scripts. Then when groups hears each other's audio scripts extract, they can get the whole pictures of the putting the jigsaw piece together. The next one task only. Students can be given a straightforward one task which doesn't demand too much understanding, detailed understanding. For example, we can get them to describe the speakers on the recording. For example, the gender of the speaker, the age of the speaker, its status, etc. Such an activity offers the possibility of understanding, however difficult the listening passage. The second solution is to the problem, play the first segment only. Instead of playing the whole recording, the teachers can just play the first segment and give the chance to student to predict what is coming next and what was the version of it. And then we may play the listening in chunks. We may break the audio track into manageable chunks so that students understand the content and part of it before moving to the next one. This makes the listening less stressful and helps students to predict what the next chance will contain. Okay, then we may use the audio script. There are 3 ways of using the audio script to help students who are having difficulty. The first place, we can cut the script into bits. The students put the bits in the right order as they listen. Secondly, we can see students see the first part of the audio script before they listen, and the third part they finally read the audio script before the text is going on and during the text and after what they have listened. Then also it's very successful for understanding listening track. We can use the vocabulary prediction. We can give students key vocabulary before they listen. They can be asked to predict what recording will be about. We will give a list of vocabulary keywords, and because of that they know some words, they will understand more. If they don't know any words, they will find from the dictionary and so on. We may also ask them to listen to the news on the English and radio. We can give them also extracts from different sources and remind them that the more you listen, the easier it gets. Our last problem is, what if some students finish before everybody else? When teacher put students in group and ask them to complete tasks, maybe designing a poster or discussing a reading text, they can be sure that some groups will finish before the others. If the activity has a competitive character, it's not a problematic. Yes, they may. But for example, who can solve a problem first? This is not a problem. This is not a worry. But what if? It's not such a thing? It means that other finish and some stays. We may solve this problem in such a way. We may give them extra materials and provide them with extra materials. It may be little worksheets, puzzles reading, and so the students who first finish will be happy and until others have caught up. And so we may plan extensions to these extra works. I think that's all, and we cope with these problems. We enlist 8 problems, and we spoke about them today. Okay, thank you for your attention.